we'll go straight into the manager. Talking about the title race.
I think the biggest question to be asked is from Man City, because we face a strong team again, like we faced Villa. So Arsenal plays before us, but we know that doesn't make the game easier or more difficult that we have against City. We know we have 12 games to play, and Arsenal has 13 games to play. And if we constantly look at Arsenal or what other teams are doing, that would not help us. So we know already how difficult it is to go to the Etihad. So we don't need Arsenal to get involved in that even more.
Yeah, Keo, I've definitely calmed down in the aftermath of the Villa game. Now, I think in the immediate aftermath, I was seeing it as another hammer blow to the title race, and this sort of buffer we've given us as much as anything. I definitely wasn't one of the ones saying it's gone or anything like that, because I won't entertain that talk for a minute really. But I can be more reflective on it now. The Villa point, I think, listen, we don't have all the context so far. If we win the league come the end of May, that is all the context, and the Villa game suddenly won't look like such a bad point. We won't even care about it at that stage. But right now, I can be pretty reflective on it, because Villa are a really good, well-drilled side. Emery's a manager who can get them playing good in and out of possession, adapt to whatever a game throws at them, and ultimately it was a mad game of football. Not similar to the Everton one, but similar in the sense that it was a mad game of football, and Liverpool just basically lose on the toss of a coin or a poor player's mistake.
Yeah, I think we're better than Everton. I think it wasn't as a mad a game as that. But I'm all right with the...
They're a better team than Everton.
They're a better team than Everton. Yeah. But I'm all right with... And I was on the way home from the game. I'm all right with the points. Yeah. I'm all right with the points gap. I'm all right with where we're sat. It was more the way it happened, which we're going to probably get into in a minute. But in terms of the title, it's another point gained. And you've got to remember as well, it's not just the point gained, it's also another game week gone. We're getting to the point now where we're approaching March. And if we're within 6, 7, 8, 9 points into March, Arsenal haven't got a lot of games, and Liverpool are going to have to lose a lot of games in quick succession. So it's not a bad point. I mean, we wanted to win, we should have won, and we all know why we're frustrated because of what happened. But in the bigger picture, it's still another point gain and another step towards the title.
Yeah, I don't know where you sit on it, Andy, because I think there's some people who completely lost their heads over it, and I'll always try and understand everyone's perspective on it, but I think you have to consider the context of it, and there's some people who don't want to. Some people don't want to hear things like, "Oh, you'd have taken this before a ball was kicked this season. You'd have bit your hand off for it at any other stage in the season." Really, to me, that is the case. It's still an 8-point gap. Arsenal have a game in hand, but I'd much rather have the points on the board anyway. They've got some tricky games to come. That sort of buffer is listen, I understand the PTSD from the past and all that sort of thing, but that sort of buffer is dreamland for a team who are leading the title race, really.
Yeah, I think both things can be true. I think you can have a bit of PTSD from previous title races, and certainly, all of us sort of sitting around this table, we've never seen Liverpool lift the league title and being able to go out and celebrate it properly. So there is part of you which just thinks, well, everything always goes against us in these title races, and it's not meant to be. We're never meant to see it. And there is a part of me which does think that, and I did lose my head a little bit on Wednesday night, because I just thought this is another game where, even though we look a better team than Arsenal, even though we're playing better than Arsenal, even though we've got more points than Arsenal over the course of a season, it just feels like they're getting a little bit of momentum from nowhere. The likes of sort of Mikel Merino coming off the bench and scoring twice, playing up front because they've literally nobody left, and it feels like a bit of a fairy tale for them. But ultimately, we're in charge of our own destiny, and I think both things can be true. You can be a little bit worried. You're allowed to be frustrated that we've let Arsenal back in, because it should be a 0% chance they have, whereas maybe it's a 20-25% chance. And you're allowed to be frustrated at that while still recognising we're in a good position. So as much as I don't agree with the idea that we've bottled it and Arsenal are back in it now and Arsenal are going to win it, I don't agree with that, but I also don't agree with anyone being frustrated with this situation being a massive bedwetter, as the really pretentious phrase goes. So I think both can be true. You're allowed to be frustrated while recognising we're in a good position, but over the next 2 games, it's on Liverpool to take it into their own hands, be in charge of our own destiny, and go get the points on the board over these next 2.
And that's the thing, Keel. I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses for the team by any stretch of the imagination, because there's particular players, one that we'll come on to who you do expect better from, especially when they're put in scenarios where it's game deciding moments. You do expect better from them. I think that the team as a whole, though, like you said before, played well against Villa. I thought there wasn't really any player besides a couple of lads who came off the bench who I was like, oh, they didn't make enough of an impact in the game there. Maybe Jota, you could say, from the starting 11, but he still gets an assist for Salah for the first goal. I thought everyone else, to a man, accounted for themselves well, really acquitted themselves well in the game, and that's where like I think we will come on to look at this as not such a bad point. And if like I keep seeing the thing going around on Twitter at the moment that if we were to win all our homes now and draw all our aways, that basically seals it, because it means that Arsenal I think could get max 89 if that is the case, and we would get max 87. So like Arsenal will surely drop points somewhere else in there too, and that's where like I think we are still carrying these things from previous title races where like in fact I've seen like a couple of like respected Liverpool voices as well talking in recent times saying like, oh, like don't tell people it's not a Manchester City title race. I'm going to tell you it's not a Manchester City title race because Manchester City were getting like 99 points and stuff and pipping us to the title. This Arsenal side can physically only get 92, and we can have a say whether that's even like plus 90. So like I am going to look at it differently. I am going to look at it as if Liverpool can stay unbeaten, I fully expect Liverpool to wrap up the title.